I spent $3,800 on a purebred breeding goat, top of the line, registered, fancy beard, the whole deal. Turned him loose with my herd of does, and he just stood there, sniffed the grass, nibbled a fence post, did some weird goat yoga, didn't even glance at the ladies. At that point, I figured I'd accidentally bought a monk with hooves. So I called the vet. He checked him out and said, healthy as can be, maybe just a little bashful. Then handed me some little pellets. Give him one a day, he said. Should help. Well, by day 2, that goat turned into a 4-legged Casanova. He was chasing every doe in sight, jumped a fence and started sneaking into the neighbor's pasture like it was speed dating night. And the weirdest part? Those pellets smelled like peppermint. I accidentally licked one. Now I'm a little worried I might climb a tree or try to romance a lawnmower. 2 friends were invited to a costume party, but with a twist. Everyone had to come dressed as an emotion. The first guy shows up wearing mismatched clothes, holding a broken umbrella, and looking totally miserable. The second guy arrives in a yellow shirt, a chef's hat, and he's carrying a giant bowl of pudding. The host opens the door and looks at them, confused. What are you 2 supposed to be? The first guy says, I'm deep in despair. The second guy grins and says, and I'm disgusted. A woman from Chicago was driving alone through the Arizona desert when suddenly her car broke down. No self-service, no traffic, just heat, sand, and silence. Panic began to set in until, out of nowhere, a Native American man appeared on horseback. Need a ride into town? He asked. Grateful, she climbed up behind him, and they started riding through the desert. It was quiet, peaceful, even except for one strange thing. Every few minutes, the man would let out a loud, "Yeehaw!" His voice echoed off the canyon walls like thunder. She stayed silent, confused but thankful, figuring maybe it was a cultural thing. Eventually, they reached town. The man let out one last joyful shout, tipped his head, and rode off. She made her way to a mechanic and explained what had happened. The mechanic asked, You all right, ma'am? Yes, I'm fine, she replied. But there was something odd. The man kept yelling yeehaw during the whole ride. Do you know why? The mechanic paused, then smirked. Well, let me ask you, what were you holding on to? She said, Just a horn on the saddle, so I wouldn't fall off. He burst out laughing. Lady, he wasn't using a saddle. One day, a blonde walked into a doctor's office with both of her ears burnt. The doctor asked her what had happened. She says, Well, I was ironing out my work suit and the phone rang, but I mistakenly picked up the iron instead of phone. The doctor says, Well, that explains one ear, but what about the other? The phone rang again, came the reply. One night, little Johnny was really scared sleeping by himself at camp. So he sprints out his tent and runs to his teacher's tent and asks, Miss, can I sleep with you tonight? His teacher replies, No. Johnny moans and says, But Mommy lets me. Okay, then just for tonight. Johnny jumps into bed with her and asks, Miss, can I play with your belly button with my finger? She again says, No. But Mommy lets me, says Johnny again. Well, I suppose it's okay then, replies his teacher. Things are silent for a few minutes until the teacher leaps up screaming, That's not my belly button. Little Johnny replies, It ain't my finger either. A hard-working man was fed up. Why am I the one out at work all day while my wife gets to stay home? He grumbled. She has it easy. I'd trade places in a heartbeat. That night, he looked up and prayed. Dear God, please let my wife see what I go through, and let me live her life for just one day. I need her to understand how hard I work. To his surprise, God answered. Wish granted. The next morning, the man woke up and found himself in his wife's body. All right, he thought, how hard can this be? He got up and began her daily routine. Made breakfast, laid out clothes, got the kids ready and off to school, picked up the dry cleaning, stopped by the bank, bought groceries, came home, put it all away, paid the bills, cleaned the litter box, bathed the dog. And that was just the morning. By the afternoon, he was making beds, sweeping, vacuuming, mopping, doing laundry, picking up the kids and breaking up arguments in the back seat, helping with homework, serving snacks, ironing while half watching cartoons. At 4:30, it was time to peel potatoes, make salad, bread pork chops, snap green beans. After dinner, he cleaned the kitchen, folded more laundry, bathed the kids, and tucked them in. By 9 p.m., he collapsed into bed, completely drained. But wait, he was still expected to perform as a loving partner that night. Somehow he did. The next morning, he dropped to his knees and prayed again. Lord, I was so wrong. I had no idea. Please, switch us back. I'll never complain again. God replied, I think you've learned your lesson. I'll gladly return things to how they were, but you'll have to wait 9 months. You got pregnant last night. A couple was golfing on a very exclusive course, lined with million-dollar homes. On the third tee, the husband warned, Honey, be careful with your drive. Don't hit any windows. It'll cost us a fortune. Sure enough, she teed up and whack. The ball shanked straight into the largest house, smashing a window. The husband groaned. I told you to watch the houses. Let's go apologize and see how much this will cost. They walked up to the door and knocked. A voice inside called, Come in. They stepped into the foyer, glass everywhere and a broken bottle on the floor. On the couch sat a man who smiled and said, Are you the folks who broke my window? Yeah. Really sorry about that. No need to apologize, said the man. You see, I'm a genie. That bottle you broke had me trapped for 1,000 years. You freed me, so I'll grant 3 wishes. 1 for each of you and 1 for me. The husband lit up. All right, I want $1 million a year for the rest of my life. The genie nodded. Done. The wife said, I want a house in every country in the world. The genie smiled. Also done. Then the husband asked, And what's your wish? Well, the genie said, After 1,000 years in a bottle, my wish is to sleep with your wife. The husband hesitated, then shrugged. We to get the money and the houses. Sure, go ahead. The genie took the wife upstairs and ravished her for 2 full hours. Afterwards, lying in bed, the genie looked over and asked, So, how old is your husband anyway? She replied, 35. The genie blinked and said, And he still believes in genies? That's adorable. 2 men are walking down the street when a dog that's foaming at the mouth viciously bites one of them, then runs off. Oh my God, cries the other man. That dog must have rabies. Rabies, says the bitten man, looking frightened and shaky. He takes a notepad and a pen out of his pocket and starts to scribble something down. Wait, says his friend, we can get you tested and vaccinated for rabies if we go to the hospital right now. You don't have to start writing your will. It's not a will, the bitten man says with an evil grin. It's a list of people I hate that I want to bite.